at your first meeting in February, I think we brought a budget amendment for, what was the original? So a $1.3 million budget amendment was brought to you all at your meeting in February, the first meeting in February, but we've now gotten the second invoice for Phase 1B. So we would like to go ahead and just move the entire amount that you all allocated from the ARPA funds to be able to pay those invoices, and that takes care of the owner contribution. So it's just a amended budget amendment for $2,026,200 to move the entire amount from the ARPA funds to Fund 66, which is the project fund for the Phase 1B.
We need the council amendment for 1.3 that we did.
Yeah, at the top of this, it says revised amended at the top of, so it's just amended. Yes, sir.
Second.
When we have a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Now we're gonna have the fire tax resolution, fire tax district disbursement amendment.
Yes. So I'm just looking for clarification on the intent of the resolution that is in your packet from June of 2022. So June of 2022, the board expanded the use of the fire tax to include rescue services. And so since July 1st of 2022, we have paid the rescue squad the operating costs, or the big $100,000 appropriation out of the fund balance and not the fire tax. The fire tax has only supported part-time salaries for the rescue squad. So I just need clarification from this board if you want to move forward with funding the rescue squad completely out of the fire tax or keep it split as it is now. So but like I say, since June of 2022, the operating cost has come out of your fund balance and part-time salaries has come out of fire tax. So
I think we're still working on that plan, so if we just keep it where it is until we make a final plan.
okay, so I guess in correlation with the fire study, keep it as is for now. Okay, so part-time salaries remaining to come out of the fire tax and the operating costs out of the fund balance. Okay, and so I also needed, at the meeting in February, we did the disbursement of the fire tax amongst the volunteer agencies. So Vance County Fire Department, our county fire department should have been included in that. I did not know that. I went back and looked at some original resolutions in which the Vance County Fire Department has always been included. So that'll reduce the amount that goes to the 10 agencies. So I just want to clarify that with you all as well. So I believe now it's, let's see, hold on for a second. It's 285, 375, so that'll be divided amongst 10 agencies instead of 9 agencies, just FYI. So I don't think that takes any action.
So it's 285?
285, 375, yes, ma'am.
9 instead of.
It'll be 10,
10.
it'll be 10, yes, ma'am.
Say that again, be what now?
It'll be 10 agencies instead of 9. Yeah. Oh, yes, I do need you all to approve that, sorry, I do apologize.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
So now we're at this part. I want to say good afternoon, Vance County community and my fellow commissioners. We are convened today to address an important matter concerning the representation of District 3 on our board. As many of you are aware, our colleague Commissioner Sean Austin resigned from his position effective January 1st, 2025 to accept a role as a magistrate in Warren County. We extend our gratitude to Mr. Austin for his dedicated service and wish him success in his new endeavor. And of course, with our commitment to ensure continuous and effective representation for the resident of District 3, the board is tasked with appointing a qualified individual to fill the remainder of the current term. This process is not only a statutory obligation, but also a reflection of our dedication to upholding the democratic principle that guides our governance. We have initiated an open and transparent application process, inviting all eligible residents of District 3 who are members of the Democratic Party to apply for this position. Our goal is to select a candidate who embodies the values of our community and is committed to addressing the challenge and opportunity that lies ahead for Vance County. Today we'll be engaging with the candidates via an interview process. Commissioners, in your package are the candidates' interview questions and responses, as well as some additional follow-up questions for you to ask if you choose to do so. We will call each candidate up to alphabetical order by their last name. Please be respectful and allow each candidate to fully answer the questions that are asked of them. We appreciate the community's involvement and input during this process and are confident that together we will continue to move Vance County forward. Thank you for your attention and your participations. So when the candidate comes up, please introduce yourself. The first one will be-
It's Mr. Carpunky is first, if we're going in alphabetical order.
Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Carpunky. I go by Dole. That's what everybody knows me as.
We have received your application as well as your interview question response. Do you have any additional information to share with us?
No, ma'am.
So, Commissioner, you see that you have this application as well as follow-up question, if any of you would like to ask any questions. I have one. It said you mentioned specific challenges facing Vance County. Can you provide a concrete example of a policy or initiative you would champion to address one of these issues?
Can you repeat that, Ms. Carolyn?
You mentioned specific challenges and what we've been facing in Vance County. Can you provide a concrete example of a policy of initiative you would champion to address one of these issues?
As far as the issues, we're moving forward in the right direction for infrastructure and for bringing new business and stuff in here. We just need to keep moving forward with it, not get diverted or detoured from it.
Any questions?
I'll do a follow-up in terms of, there's one on here that how would you work with state and federal agencies to secure funding and resources of Vance County? What's your thought on how we go about securing funds and everything? What would be your approach to working with the board?
We need to be inquiring about grants. There's a lot of grants out there that would cover stuff that we're currently paying for out of our budget. For example, not long ago, we got, I guess, new HVAC systems over at Eden Johnson. That could be covered as well out of the emergency management budget for shelters, because that is a certified shelter for the county.
You spoke about physical responsibility and budget priorities. If the county faced a budget shortfall, what specific areas would you consider adjusting, and how would you justify those decisions to the public?
Well, the number one decision is going to be your essential services have to continue to run regardless. So non-essential services will be the first ones that had to be looked at and revamped as far as increasing the budget to continue to operate 100% across the county.
Not on the question thing, but in terms of being from the area and everything, in terms of economic development, where do you see the county going as we look at toward economic development?
It's going to continue to improve, especially with putting countywide water in. Youngsville steadily moving this direction towards Franklin County. Franklin County steadily moving towards Vance County. So it's steadily growing. We just have to continue to grow that and make it appealing for the outside people to come in, for businesses and families. Because we have a large residential take of our lake up here. I mean, it brings a lot of revenue in our county for recreational purpose throughout the summer. Matter of fact, it's probably the largest source of revenue as far as outsiders coming in here that our county sees.
Things that I always say that rooftops are a form of economic development. And if you get rooftops, you grow, you increase your tax base. How do you feel about that?
Well, currently, all the way around me out there towards Rock Mill Road, they're fixing to build 378 houses. Company out of Charlotte named True Homes has bought every piece of property all the way around, from Garrett Road all the way back Swain Drive to Vicksboro Road. And it's supposed to be starting in 2026, from my understanding, as soon as they get done surveying with the site development and all that. And the city, ETJ, has already got the site development set up and printed out for it. So they're coming. The houses are coming. We just got to make sure we have the infrastructure to provide services for them. for emergency services and everything else throughout, you know.
I have a question that's not on it. You do realize that we are seeking to appoint a person to finish an unexpired term for Mr. Austin. That means it's not a typical 4-year term as if you were running for regular election. This is just to fill his time that has not yet expired. How do you feel about running in the next election? This is an appointed position versus having to run in, if you decide to, if you were appointed to run in the next election.
Just ma'am, I'd seek reelection. I would run again.
Questions?
What would you like to see take place in the county?
I'd like to see it continue to grow.
Tell me your vision.
My vision is to continue to see our community grow and clean up some of our community that is currently not in the best visible status there is out there, especially up and down main thoroughfares.
Things I've learned since I've been on the board and dealing with economic development, that one of the things that is our hindrance to economic development is not having adequate, not having the facilities or what it needs, and businesses looking at coming there. We often think that as a commissioner, we can do lots of things to grow and get businesses to the area. But a lot of that depends on how the state looks at us. And one of the things they look at us is saying that I was told by a previous economic development person that they look at and say, one of the things they say that when they send out RFPs, the first thing they look at, if you don't have a building, it knocks out 50% of our being able to apply for to attract something. So I guess what I'm saying is, how do you feel about the county and other agencies making investments in the county to build structures that will attract business and everything? It may sit vacant for a while, but you know, that's the chance you take.
Well, if you don't build it, they're not coming. I mean, you have to have something for them to come for.
Thank you. Any more questions? Thank you.
Mhm.
Next candidate, Sharice Fain. And for the record, Fain, not Fain. Sound like it's my last name.
Good afternoon. I am Sharice Fain, and I've been a nurse for over 25 years this year, and I would like to be a county commissioner.
Any questions? Guys, commissioners?
I asked the same question I just asked. Of course, you know, this position is only to fill the unexpired term of former Commissioner Austin. How do you feel about having to run in an election? If this is an appointed position, how do you feel about having to run in a regular election? Or if you were appointed, what would be your intent?
My intent would be to run in the election as well. And I don't have a problem with campaigning and running for the position as the commissioner.
You say you have 25 years of nursing. And if you know, mental health is almost a crisis with the opioid, pandemic as well. How would you attack from that perspective as being a nurse and firsthand seeing all of this?
Well, as a nurse, I've seen throughout my years of being a nurse, I've seen many challenges when it comes to mental health. Not having facilities to send patients to, not having the resources available depending upon whether they were state assist or whether they were private insurance. And so some of the things that I as a nurse, because even when I look at our current situation with our emergency room now, and being a former employee of the emergency room of Mariah Perm, it has pretty much turned to a holding place for people that have mental health challenges. And so it used to be that the emergency room was you get them in and then you get them stabilized and you move them on. However, it has become a place where now people stay in there months, days, weeks, and even up to years if they have mental health challenges and they cannot be placed. So some of the things that I would like to see be put in place is assistant programs, treatment programs, recovery support services, also having housing that they can be able to transition to, because it has become so challenging. Even having Franklin Regional, which is about 15 miles down the road, staying full. And so looking at putting programs in place that will help benefit those that need those services, because they are so important, and not just discharging them back to the streets, because then it becomes a revolving door. They go out, they come back, they go out, they come back, but making sure that if we have the funding that is allocated, putting that funding into use to institute some of these programs.
Well, you know, Vance County with the opioid settlements, I assume that if you were selected to serve on the board with your background, I would think that you'd be a good resource for us in looking at how to spend that money. So I assume that what you just mentioned would be a way you'd like to see us utilize those funds.
Yes, sir. Because I did look at your prior minutes and the settlement that was allocated to Vance County, and just reading through the minutes and seeing what was sent to what was given to Vance County. These would be some of the things that I would like to see put in place.
But if you were selected, what would be your top priority in this board in looking at spending those? What would be let's say, your first two top priorities in terms of guiding this board as to how to spend that money?
Looking at what we already have in place and seeing what we are budgeted for, and then from there, seeing what we would be able to do, what would be an immediate versus a long-term, how we can put that into place.
Have been in the nursing field, what do you think the most critical need in this area for spending opioid funds, overall funds?
Having a recovery place. So that people have somewhere to go to, and having dedicated people that have a background in mental health and serving those that are face these challenges, having people in place that can meet those needs. Because in the emergency room, you deal with all kinds of things, such as heart attacks and strokes, and mental health being one of them. But having people that are dedicated and specialized in that area would really help benefit them and help that revolving door.
You know, Durham recently had a problem, maybe, you know, in terms of when the police goes out and everything.
Yes, sir.
Rather than to bang, bang, shoot somebody, that somebody goes along with them.
Yes,
to
sir.
try to de-escalate the situation so that you don't have, it doesn't come a crisis and everything for that person. How do you feel about that?
I think that's an excellent idea, because again, you have someone that specialized, someone with a background in that will be able to be very instrumental in de-escalating the situation. And that's a matter of getting people trained, that they would go out with EMS, that they would go out with the police department and be able to help de-escalate the situation, because there are special things that you do versus if you have somebody that's combative. You know, to the natural eye, someone that is not used to dealing with that, they automatically think, okay, they need to be handcuffed or they need to be tased. But to a mental health specialist, then you know that you talk them down to help them. You go to their world, is how we say it in the medical world. We go to their world to help bring them back to where they need to be. So having a team of people that is specialized and trained will help benefit the county that when people, emergency services go out, they would be able to be very instrumental in helping them.
You mentioned your background in terms of business. Tell me, just refresh my mind, my memory in terms of your business background, in terms of manage. You manage what now?
I manage 16 different facilities, nursing facilities. I'm the district director of clinical services for a senior living, but I have worked in emergency room, outpatient surgery, ICU, PCU, but I currently manage 16 different facilities throughout North Carolina, from Durham to the furthest is Eden, Reedsville. I have 4 in High Point and 2 in Greensboro, and then Burlington, Durham, Chapel Hill.
When you manage them, are you overseeing the budget and everything for those?
I do. Making sure each community has their own budget, but making sure that they are staying within that budget. We have a system called pairs where we have each department has a allotted amount that they are allowed to use. So making sure that we utilize that we are ordering supplies from the correct places, and making sure giving guidance as far as their budget is concerned.
This question, I guess I'm answering all the questions. I'm gonna ask you this question. Did you grow up on Kingston Street?
I did.
At the end of Kingston Street on the left hand?
I did.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out, okay. Having grown up in Henderson in terms of, I was saying to ask Mr. Dole, Punky and everything, what do you see, having grown up in this area, having come back in terms of working, what do you see in terms of us, in terms of economic development for the area?
I feel like we are in a prime location, that we can attract new businesses, but however, continue to support our small businesses, and that we can continue to grow and put things into place that will keep our county in a good place, helping to make sure that we are attracting the right businesses, taking our workforce and training those that we already have so that they will be able to manage the new attractions that we are trying to bring to the county, as well as support the ones that we currently have here.
Any questions? Thank you, Ms. Funny.
Thank you.
Candidate Jeanette Floyd.
Good afternoon. I'm Jeanette Floyd, and I'm glad to be here. So you want me to share
Is there
something?
anything you'd like to share?
Well, I'm a native of Henderson. I grew up in the Sandy Creek community. I lived there most of my life until I went off to college, and then came back, moved back into the area. I attended church in that area, in that same township. And presently, I pastor in that same district. I taught school in that district, so I know a lot of people in District 3. I serve as the co-chair of Community Partners of Hope, been there for 2 years. Also, I'm a member of the United Way. I am, of course, I'm a pastor, I'm a Baptist pastor, been pastoring for 20 years. And therefore, I'm a member of the United Shiloh Missionary Baptist Association, where I serve as the vice moderator. And I'm connected with General Baptist State Convention, where I serve as the executive committee member. And I am, being that I was reared in Sandy Creek in that district, and that district has really impacted my life and has helped me to become who I am. I would love to serve in that community and serve the people there. And I was thinking about it. I've never thought about politics before. And I thought, well, I'm not really a politician, but I am a servant leader. And I find myself being in the community, not just in my in that district, but I find myself working in the city of Henderson, making a difference in the lives of the people there.
I'll ask ask you the same question. Of course, this is an appointed position to finish an unexpired term.
Mhm.
So how do you feel about having to, if you were interested in remaining on the commission, having to actually run for election for the position?
Yes, definitely. I would pursue that.
Ms. Floyd,
Yes.
I haven't seen you since we went on a field trip together. How are you?
Fine, how are you? Which field trip now?
What, did we go field trip with the kids at charter school in Raleigh one time?
Yes, we did. Absolutely, yes.
Run around with the kids.
Right, yes.
Keeping up with the
It's
kids.
been a
and
minute.
everything. So it's been a while since I've seen you. and
Yes.
everything. But we survived, didn't we?
We did.
We survived. Having come to us in terms of your background in education, education is a key component for this community in terms of development. How do you feel about having worked in the school system? You know, I worked in literacy in terms of one of the biggest challenges having been that having an educated population in order to, when you attract industry in order to work. And I think that between our public schools and our community colleges, that they sort of set the bar as to what we can do when we start talking. How do you feel about education in terms of training the workforce, in terms of using our community college, using our kids out of high school and everything? I realize that it starts early, but my concern is that you need to sort of start doing something probably middle school all the way through, you know, we've got a great resource here in terms of community college.
Absolutely. First of all, I think we need to provide the students the opportunity to decide on a trade early, like you said, in middle school, and work on developing those skills, because everybody's not going to go to college, right? And so they can work on those skills, and also and partner with businesses and private entrepreneurs, and allow those students to shadow those persons who are doing the trade that they have signed up for, they're being developed in, so they can move forward and learn the skill, not just teach that skill, but let them have hands-on, experience. And also, our kids need that. I think because I think a lot of the trades have been taken out of the high school, teaching, auto mechanic, home economics when I was in school and all that. I think it's been taken out. Out of the schools, the kids need that, because a lot of them, like I said, some people be interested in cooking or being a chef or, auto mechanics or welding or whatever, and they can get that experience when they're in middle school and move forward and pass it on when in high school, and then move into a business or a career.
Like so many of us in terms of from the area and everything, economic development, what do you see us as a county in terms of looking toward the future in terms of economic development? What's your thoughts on economic
Yeah.
development?
Well, I was sitting there thinking about that. I'm thinking provide opportunities for people. We have a lot of empty buildings in the area, and provide opportunities for people who are interested in opening a business. Maybe give them, I think I saw on the website where you would give them an incentive for a first-time business owner, and to build up the downtown area and some of the other areas that we have empty buildings, I think, and offer other opportunities that will enhance the community and draw interest in people coming to establish economic development.
Yes, this in terms of your ministry background.
Okay.
How do you see us in terms of working with local government agencies and this body and everything in order to get things done? What would you suggest?
I think the first thing we need to do is to really have a courageous conversation by listening, active listening to each person, to each side, right? And do it in a respectful way. And then look at the commonalities that each side has. And then come to an agreement how we move forward together. And sometimes we don't have to make a decision. And I'm sure you all know this. You don't have to make a decision immediately, but just hear it out dissect it, and then come together to make a decision to move forward.
Last question to you, having been in the public schools and stuff like that, and we mentioned to, I think I mentioned to the other candidates and everything about grants and everything. You have an expertise in terms of guiding the board as to where to look for grants and money, so how you develop that relationship in order to be able to get resources for the county that maybe we have not tapped, because, you know, you'd be fresh, new ideas, and so,
Okay.
you know, places that we looked at maybe we hadn't considered.
Yes, yes, I was, I think I was in one of the meetings, and someone mentioned, we're talking about the jail, right? And I think, Mr. Hester mentioned something about the USDA offering, have grants for, you know, infrastructure. And so I went home and I started researching that, and they do have grants available. And I'm sure there are other agencies as well, but it just takes time to sit down and research and find those grants and to apply for them. And then, of course, contact our state representative and then work with that person as well as finding grants, locating grants.
And Commissioner Kelly done answered all the questions, because I had one, but he answered it. He asked it, because I was gonna say.
Come up with
because of-
something else.
No, because I was just wondering, because you are been a native of Vance County, all these years, and you're a big part of the community service and involvement, volunteer and stuff. So I was just wondering what were some of the needs that you saw that Vance County needed from the economic development perspective.
Ye- Of course, our people they need jobs. They need jobs. And they need jobs and they need affordable housing. Yeah. We have a lot of homelessness in Vance County, Henderson area. And so we need to bring in industries and make an opportunity, create opportunities so people can earn money, right? Earn money so that they can afford their housing. Yeah, yeah. I hope I answered that question. Yeah. That's the part, yeah, that and also education. We got to go back to education. One of the things that we did last year, we partnered with another church. Our church and another church partnered together to provide tutorial services for our children. And also, even with the school system, we could partner with the school system and do some things, provide opportunities for students to have various experiences during the summer, because a lot of them don't do anything during the summer, right? And so I think that's the part, is that a part of economical growth? Because they have to have that foundation of education as well.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Sure.
Charles Turrentine Jr.
Afternoon. I'm Charles Tarrantine Jr., born and raised in Vance County. I left after high school, went to Shaw University for a little bit. Then I went into the military. Well, I was already in the military in my 11th grade year. I got called up, 9/11 hit while I was in basic training. So from then on, I went to Iraq in 03. Stayed over there for over a year. Came back home. As a public servant, learning that through the military, and I felt like I wanted to give back. So I served as the director for the homeless shelter for 5 years Community Partners of Hope, before they transitioned to the new spot. After that, I was on the board of Crime Stoppers for 3 years, I believe. I'm presently the chairperson for the CAC committee, which is the Community-Wide Advisory Committee, city and county. We are considered like the public relations for our citizens in Vance County, that was formed in 2016 from Henderson City Council, when we had a month of just 5 shootings, 5 murders actually. So they wanted to set up a committee that could be the voice in between the citizens and relay back to the city council and the county commissioners. So I've been the chairperson for that board for 2 years now. And along with that, we started a initiative where we were feeding every second and fourth Tuesdays out of Davis Chapel Church. We have a soup kitchen. We partner with the rec department, and we do food for the cold and coats for the cold. Well, food for the soul and coats for the cold. We do that from 10 to 1 every second and fourth Tuesday at Davis Chapel. And we do, on average, feed about 30 people, give them clothes and all that kind of stuff. My main goal is just to help out Henderson any way I can. I've never aimed to be a politician. I'm not a politician, probably will never be. I'm just a public servant. 41 years old. I grew up, my daughter just recently graduated from Vance Charter. She's in UNCG, her first year. She's enjoying it. I got a son that's 16, sophomore, plays basketball. Actually, he's playing the tournament today, Vance Charter. And I just want to be a positive impact for them, my kids, and for surrounding kids, because I know that the kids need us as much as possible, other than adults. We got to focus on our kids at an early age. And that's what I'm here for. That's why I'm running for county commission.
One of the questions that you was asked on the interview was, how familiar are you with the current challenge and opportunities facing Vance County, such as public safety concerns, economic development, infrastructure needs? Can you expound on that some?
Just by me coming through the county commissioners meetings, I realized public safety is number one. Because me just going around different places, being in different rooms and just hearing people talk, a lot of people look at Vance County and look at Henderson. A lot of opportunities want to come to Henderson and Vance County, but they are scared to death of our crime because they just go by what they hear and what they read. So public safety has to be number one, and we got to support our public safety, whether it's fire, EMS, sheriff's office. They need to be number one. So once we feel safe, then people will be more vulnerable to come out and enjoy our downtown or our lakes and all that kind of stuff. But if you feel like you go home, you lock your door because you want to feel safe. Everybody deserves their right to feel safe. So I feel like once we tackle that issue of public safety, then infrastructure and all that, and the economic department will grow once we focus from public safety to our kids and elementary age to teach them the way of life that will move forward past Vance County.
Charles, we talk a lot about economic development. Having been from here and being young in terms of, everybody says in terms of education, winds up being a key too. But what's your views in terms of economic development? What would you like to see us do as a county?
Somebody before asked about trades. I agree with that because college isn't for everybody. But when we say economic growth, we have to have the workforce for that. So the workforce comes from, they got to be taught and they got to be willing to be taught. So that goes along with changing the mindset of our people, hitting them in elementary school to let them know you got to set your focus on getting a job to grow yourself, to grow, to get educated and wanting more out of life than just settling. So I think education from grade school all the way through, and we can get like trades and all that, like carpentry class, welding classes, and HVAC, mechanical, all that kind of stuff. That is valuable, but we got to know, because education and public safety work hand in hand. Once we get all that in control, then if our schools are flourishing, then businesses will look and see, okay, I can come there because their schools are top tier. So I don't mind, because I would have kids, so I would need to put them in a class in a school, and they don't want a school that's level one to look at.
I know you've been real involved in terms of community, in terms of trying to seek funds for the Chestnut Street project and everything down the street and everything.
Yes, sir.
But how do you feel about, has that helped you develop or a resource for looking for additional ways in which to get money for the county to do things that you'd like to see that the county doesn't have the funds to do, but at the same time, there are sources out there in which we can tap to benefit the county?
Tremendously. I didn't even bring that up. But yeah, I did. We started with Davis Chapel. We started an initiative with partnering with the Recreation and Parks Department, where we adopted the Chestnut Street Park in 2016. So along with that, the revitalization idea came about. So we started that campaign 2024 January, and we went the whole year of just gaining support. We didn't focus on gaining money because I felt like if we can gain your support about the vision, the money will come, because you'll believe in the vision. So along with that process, I built a good relationship with Carter, our local government council, and they will be instrumental in helping us with all our visions. To me, it's no need to reinvent the wheel when we got stuff in our county that we can tap in and utilize. I mean, it's just about having a conversation with them, and I'm sure we can come to a mutual agreement, and they can help us promote any idea that we may have. And also, just by doing the whole Chestnut Project, not being afraid to talk to people. Regardless of what your title was, I was just a person, a concerned citizen. I just went and talked to people and I asked them for support. And I did learn, I learned a lot. So I can bring that to the county as needed.
How do you feel about, and we asked the young lady and everything, I think Doyle in terms of, and Miss Floyd, about the mental health issues and everything in terms of Vance County?
Mental health is big. And it's almost got to the point where it's popular. But I think, again, it goes back to the piece about our kids in school. Because if you're in school and they label you with an IEP in kindergarten, that's going to follow you throughout school unless you grow out of it. And then growing out of school, that's going to be on your record that you mental patient. I mean, it's almost like a cycle where I know I can get a check if I'm a mental patient. It's like a trick of the game in some cases. But I think education and actually telling people the pros and cons and having resources. If we got businesses in town, maybe whether it be Daymark, because I used to work at Triumph back in the day as a peer support specialist. So if we have those organizations in town, we need to tap in with them and see if they're running and kind of hold them accountable. How can they help us with this situation? And again, not reinventing the wheel, but helping this business that's in town already and partner with them to kind of partner with the Mariah Perm and get that situation kind of informed.
Madam Chairman, one question I did not ask any of the other members, I'll ask this. I don't know whether or not you want to ask them after I ask this to have them respond. You know, we have a jail crisis.
Yes, sir.
How do you feel about the, and I didn't ask the other folks that and everything, but how do you feel about our jail situation? You know, it's.
Again, I've been all my life. I remember jokers breaking out of jail when I was in high school. So I think that's more of accountability time deal. So if we
Yes, but what
get
I'm
together,
saying is the jail that we have right now,
okay,
we need to do something in terms of new jail.
you just answered.
That's what I'm trying to get to. And how do you feel about what we have? You know, I'm sure you've observed the jail.
Right.
You know what's there and everything.
Yes, sir.
So how do you feel about us as a body dealing with that situation?
Or as get building a new jail, or
Dealing with that situation as to whether or not to repair, to build, or where do we need to go?
sheesh. Okay.
And I know you've been listening to commissioners meeting.
Yeah, I have.
Commissioners meeting and everything.
I've been to them.
What's your take on what we are faced with the jail?
I think the last one I was at doing maybe the retreat, the major stepped up and said that, like maybe Mr. Brown might have said it'd take 8 years or something like that to build a new jail, or at least 3 years. So you might as well just fix what you got temporarily until while that process is being built, because we all know you need a new jail. So I mean that's inevitable. So in the meantime, when you're lowering the numbers, do it in phases. Do one population at a time, one area at a time. And once that's in down, move the people there because that's secure now. Then go to the next part.
Can you ask the other question? I'd like for
Let
you
me
to,
finish with.
uh,
with-
I'd like the other three to address that too, since that's an issue.
Let us finish with him.
Okay.
Got any more questions? Mr. Tarrentine, I had an opening statement and I said, we have initiated an open and transparent application process inviting all eligible resident of District Three who are members of the Democratic Party to apply for this position. So my question to you, it was, made aware that you was registered under another party and changed to the Democratic Party. And if so, can you explain why?
Yes, ma'am. I was in the Democratic Party since I was ready to vote because I grew up and that's what I thought I was supposed to do. And I was never told anything else to do. But after me being grown and having a family and kids, I felt like I could think for myself. So I didn't need to be tied to a party when I can get a ballot and go down the list and vote for the best candidate versus saying I'm with this particular party, I got to go through them. That didn't make sense to me. So I was an independent. Then when I found out I had to be a Democrat to run for the position, I switched to Democrat to get to the position where I could spark some change.
Yeah, I'll ask you the same question. Of course, this is an appointed position to fill an unexpired term, it's
ma'am.
possibly 2 years. How do you, if you decide you want to run again, how do you feel about, instead of being appointed, having to actually run for election?
Oh, I would definitely run. That was my plan anyway, to run in 2026, but this happened. Actually, before Mr. Austin had ran, I had told him I was going to plan on running then, but we had a talk. But so I would have no problem with running.
So you're gonna run back under independent?
To be honest, I would, because I stand firm. I mean, I won't just wait because I stand firm on that as independent thinker.
Thank you. Mr.
Yes,
Any
ma'am.
more
Appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Want the other folks to
Okay,
respond to your situation.
Dog,
I want you've been in the meetings, you understand what we're dealing with as a commission in terms of jail. So what's your thought on us in terms of tackling the jail situation?
I think we need to build a new jail. Should have been built 10 years ago probably, but the buck keeps getting passed off to sheriff after sheriff after sheriff. One of the meetings I sat in, where the county allocated funds to do repairs never got done. So there was no accountability on the sheriff's part for that. And it makes our county as a whole look like we're not following up when we actually are. I mean, y'all are doing y'all's part to put the funding there, it's just not getting completed. But we've got to have a jail regardless of whether we fix that one or not. That's probably gonna be short term, but we're gonna have one eventually to keep up with the growth of our community anyway.
So you believe in terms of short-term, there's a short-term solution and there's a long-term solution, right?
Well, from what I heard, $70 a head, a number of inmates we got spending $4.1 million a year to keep them housed somewhere else versus the current 4.9 million that we have at the jail. It's gonna be short term that we're gonna have to place them to build another facility or to repair that one anyway.
You heard the conversation where we're dealing with the district attorney to try to reduce that population, sort of reduce our costs, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I just want to get your take.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ms. Floyd?
Yes, I agree as well, that we need a new jail. I was very elated when I heard that we were going to move forward with that. And I like the idea of, asking other counties to house, the offenders while we build the new jail. Like, I agree with the short term and the long term. They're human beings and they need to be treated and provide a place for them to live, that is adequate and healthy for them. Someone said, yeah, they are innocent until proven guilty. And so we need to provide a safe, clean place and safe place for them. Yeah.
Ms. Fain? you've been listening to the commissioners meeting and the issues that we deal with in terms of jail. So how do you feel about us in terms of tackling the jail situation? That's because you'd be part, if you were selected, you'd be part of the decision making when it comes to either long-term solution or short-term solution in remedying our jail situation.
I support building a new jail because I feel like we're gonna just patch up what we have and long-term, we're gonna put more money. So, we're gonna fix what we have right now, but then we're gonna end up having to fix more. And so to provide the safety and the security and the cleanliness and that is needed there, I feel I'm totally in support of building a new jail.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. So we would like to thank each of the candidates for their interest and commitment, dedication to serving District 3. Any questions from the board before we go? I would like for us to sit back, think about, we have heard each of the candidates, and I would like for us to think about and go over and revisit their application since you have seen them in person, and hopefully that we can call, we have to call a special call meeting one day next week to come back and vote. That's what I would like to see. It's all right with the board? So, cool with that?
You want to wait to schedule your day and let us know?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll get back with you.
Okay, all right.
Just make sure we look at this calendar. With that said, can I get a motion
Move to
to,
adjourn?
yes. Second,
Second, do we have one?
yes.
Second.
I couldn't
Motion.
hear. Is that, are we
We,
through?
we
Oh.
through.
Thank you.
All right. Tommy ready.
I'm sorry, through.
Tommy, you through?
Picking on me now.
I'll say KTM.
Hey, it's okay.
She knows she's always.